So I was thinking about how often we say we really want a thing, but I don't think we really do. Like we want something in theory, but in reality, are we actually willing to do what it takes? So like, for example, we may say, I want $1 million. Who wouldn't want $1 million? But then actually taking the time to realize what it takes to get to that $1 million is kind of what separates those who really want it from those who really don't. And so I was thinking about how can we get from a place of really knowing what we want and actually following through with that. And one of the things that I thought about is it's important for us to know, like get some knowledge around what does it actually take to get to that place. So if that looks like you reaching out to somebody, say, hey, I see that you're doing this, kind of want to know what your process looks like. What did you have to do to get to that place? Or it may look like you reading a few books, you doing certain programs or whatever, but actually getting the knowledge to find out, hey, what does that look like in reality? Because right now, in theory, it sounds good that I want $1 million, and this is just an example, but really, what does it take to get there? And then another thing I thought about is actually being willing to invest in yourself. Nobody actually gets a harvest without planting a seed. You have to be willing to invest in yourself enough to get the harvest that you truly want. So you can't say, I want $1 million, but then you're not willing to put financial seed in the ground to get that, because any millionaire, multimillionaire would tell you, like, it takes money to make money. Like, okay, let me surround myself in these circles, let me go to these programs, whatever you need to do to get that knowledge, then be willing to invest in yourself enough to say, I'm going to actually put my money where my mouth is. Investing is not just with your money, but also with your time. So being willing to sacrifice what your normal day or your normal schedule looks like to say, you know what, I'm gonna stay up later, or I'm gonna get up earlier. I'm not gonna make an excuse. It takes some investment. And then the last thing I thought about was actually getting to a place of execution. Once you know what it takes to get there and you've invested in yourself to get there, now actually coming up with that plan to actually start doing the things and not talking about it will let you know if you truly want to do it. And here's the best part about it though, y'all. When you're going through the first two parts of the knowledge and the investment, you might get to a place where you say, you know what, I actually don't want to do this. And at that point, you need to be bold enough to say, I'm going to start over. I'm going to reset and I'm going to do something else. Because if you get to a place where you're not bold enough to make that decision and you say, well, you know what, I've already invested enough time, I've invested enough money, so I'm too deep in it now. And then you get in it and realize that you really don't want to do what you say that you wanted to do. And then you spend the rest of your time, or months, years, some people for the rest of their life, doing things that they truly don't want to do. So be bold enough to say, like, once I find out what it takes, and I don't like this process, be bold enough to say, I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna do something else. Because honestly, the road to self-discovery is not convenient. It's never convenient. So I hope that helps when we say things that we want, whether that be buying a house, whether that be starting a business, whether that be making new friendships, like whatever it is, get on that path of finding out what it is that you need to do to get there. Be willing to invest in yourself and then be willing to execute that thing. And if you don't like the process, then you really don't want it. And that's okay if you don't. Be willing to start over. Be bold enough to say, you know what, I don't like that and I'm gonna do something else.